What's up, beautiful people, and welcome back to another comic book review video where I say words about a comic that I read and you, the beautiful people, listen. It is I, your crazy Nicolas Cage, your steward of Gondor, your genius, billionaire playboy, basic YouTuber philanthropist, SuperCliff, and would you kindly hit that like and subscribe button for every little bit helps and its majestic YouTube world. And today, guys, we continue our odyssey into DC's Infinite Frontier with Justice League, issue number 62, which is written by Brian Michael Bendis. Bendis is coming. With the art drawn by David Marquez. And away we go. As our story begins at the Hall of Justice, where we are met with the arrival of Queen Hippolyta, Queen of the Amazons, and the mother of Wonder Woman. And so, once she arrives, she begins walking through the halls, admiring all the statues which pay tribute to the Justice League and its members. And as Hippolyta is going about her business, almost everyone who's inside visiting, they all begin to point out to each other, saying like, hey, there's Wonder Woman, or hey, this person looks a lot like Wonder Woman. Is she trying out a new look or something? Now, eventually Hippolyta comes across the statue of Wonder Woman, and as she's taken back by it and is simply just admiring her daughter, along with what Wonder Woman stood for, the Flash shows up and greets Hippolyta, wondering if there's anything that he can do for her. And she tells him like, no, not really, only that she wanted to apologize for the way that she acted towards them earlier, referencing issue 60 of course, and that she basically wanted to see if the entire league was present so that she could do so, because she feels really bad about it. But Flash tells her that the team is actually off-world at the moment, tending to a mission, aka Brutus, or as Hippolyta refers to him as, the Invader. And Flash, he's basically just waiting around for their return signal. And according to Flash, in truth, the team and him haven't really given Hippolyta's anger a second's thought. And so after realizing on just how much of a dick he sounded, Flash decides to listen to Hippolyta, as she confides in him and that she feels safe talking to Flash because she always knew Flash and Diana were great friends. Hippolyta mentions man's world, and how she just doesn't understand it all, for it seems to her like it's just filled with lunacy, and so the fact that she swore to protect it, it troubles her. Now, amidst their conversation, the Flash suddenly realizes that right then and there, he might have fucked up. That he might have messed up with sending the Justice League over to Naomi's homeworld. And so he immediately begins to panic, and he starts going through all the mathematical equations within his head. And Flash, he's doing all this in front of Hippolyta. Eventually, Flash realizes that he basically sent the team away on bad math. Therefore, realizing that he may have killed the Justice League, he grabs a phone and calls Mr. Terrific, who by all accounts is the DC Universe's Geek Squad whenever shit hits the fan. Now, this is where we pick up with Aquaman, who last we saw had fainted as a result of his powers being affected by the nature of Naomi's homeworld. And as Aquaman begins to wake up, he finds himself in this very poor, run-down apartment with a family sitting in front of him. The wife of this family begins to freak out towards her husband, Gondor, saying like, hey, this guy, he shouldn't be here. You know, like, what if he starts killing everyone? We have no idea as to why he's here to begin with. And this is where Gondor lets Aquaman know that he found him in Zumbado's no-go zone, an area that no one is allowed to be in. And so he took him in for anyone bad could capture or torture him. Aquaman then let Gondor know that he came here with a group of people, along with a guy who dresses up as a bat. And so he's wondering whether or not Gondor or if anyone else has seen them. But Gondor lets him know that we only found you, dude, and that you were all by yourself when you got here. Aquaman then begs the question as to what exactly happened here, and why is it he can't hear the oceans? And as everyone is looking at Aquaman as if he had 3 heads, Gondor's wife lets him know that they're in Ohio, and that the oceans are nowhere nearby. Suddenly, an explosion occurs within the apartment, which throws Aquaman completely off guard in the process. However, before we can figure out as to what just happened, we pan away over to Brutus, who's giving the beatdown, and is easily throwing Superman and Black Adam around as though they were paper. And this is merely due to Naomi's homeworld, because for some reason, her world is affecting the team's powers. In the case of Superman, he can't seem to control his heat vision blast, whereas Naomi, her hands, they seem to be disappearing on and off. Basically, everyone is being affected in some weird way. However, when it comes to Brutus, because he's on his home turf, his powers are stable. Therefore, he's got the edge against everyone. Suddenly, Brutus is blasted back by Black Canary's cry. However, although Black Canary's cry blast is substantially much more powerful, the only problem is that she's using a ton of energy as a result, so it's draining Dinah in the process. And to make matters worse, Brutus comes back to continue his ass-kicking session. And so both Naomi and Hawkgirl charge and begin to attack Brutus. And as that's happening, Black Adam is trying his hardest to help Superman, attempting to motivate him and to get him back into the fight. But it's to no avail. And it's here where, out of nowhere, we see Aquaman pull up, riding a tank, my man, and he shoots Brutus right in the face, causing him to fly backwards. But sadly, this only stalls Brutus for a bit because the villain comes back and he smashes Aquaman's tank. And so really, it's at this point where things are not looking good. Everything seems to be pretty dire. And with that, we see Brutus toss Naomi into the sky, and she goes soaring through the clouds. Now, eventually, Naomi catches herself in midair and is thereby able to gain back control. However, once this happens, Naomi is given a view, a look of the entire landscape of her homeworld, and it looks really, really bad. Everything across miles and miles is shown to be destroyed. And so, this causes Naomi to become angry that Zumbadu destroyed her world, just so he can obtain more power. Black Adam pulls up and tells Naomi that they have to retreat, and that if they don't do so immediately, they're going to die. And so, as these two make their way back down, this is where we see Queen Hippolyta show up, like a badass, proclaiming victory as she's standing on top of the body of Brutus. Soon the Flash pulls up, and he tells them all that they need to get out of here fast, because the air in this world is apparently slowly poisoning them. And so, as everyone is preparing to leave, along with Aquaman in the background, who's thanking Gondor and his family for saving him, along with letting him use the wife's tank against Brutus, Naomi is like, no, we can't just leave. Brutus and Zumbadu, they have to pay for what they've done. They need to face justice. But whether they leave or not, it doesn't matter, because this is where we see Zumbadu, and he lets the Justice League know that he's the one who decides who comes and goes. Justice League, issue number 62, was another fun Justice League from Brian Michael Bendis. And despite this comic being shorter than the past 3 issues, we actually get a lot answered in this issue, to which I appreciate. Flash messing up with the whole trajectory was some really funny stuff, and I definitely support that whenever something wrong happens in the DC universe, Mr. Terrific is everyone's go-to guy. Seeing Naomi become angry upon the sight of her homeworld destroyed was great, and I love how Black Adam, of all people, tries to calm her down. And I have to wonder whether or not Naomi will end up killing someone as a result of her anger, especially with Zumbadu showing up towards the end. David Maguire's art continues to be incredibly sexy, along with the colors that are done fantastically by Ivan Placeni. Great work. And I really, really hope that David Marquez, or at least someone similar to his work, continues with Bendis' Justice League. Also, Hippolyta looks amazing in this issue. I totally dig her white armored costume with bits of gold, and that purple cape really does a solid job. Plus, I love purple. It's a badass color. But yeah, overall, Justice League issue 62 was another fun issue which gave us some laughs and provided further character development with the team's newest members. And I can't wait for the next issue. Justice League issue number 62 gets an 8.5 out of 10.